clogs. A couple of years ago, friends of mine bought a terraced house in Manchester. It was built in the 1880s, and there were a few things that needed doing in the house. They had the roof redone, but otherwise it was comfortable and really nice to live in. An old woman had lived all her life in the house, and she had looked after it very well. There was only one thing lacking in this house. They couldn't find the old cooking stove in the kitchen. A Lancashire range, as it is called. A stove like this is made of cast iron, and it consists of a fire basket, an oven, and a water heating basin. If a stove like this is well blackened, it could be very charming and a good reminder of the old romantic days with the warm kitchens where Grandma was baking potatoes in the stove. Well, they found the place where the range might have been. They were tapping around the walls, and at one wall they noticed a hollow sound. That's it. The old lady must have hardboard across the stove and wallpapered over it. It must have been in the 50s. Oh, what a dilemma! What if it's nothing underneath the hardboard, just a hollow space? Then they would have ruined their kitchen. Or think if there might be a beautiful range under it. Then they would really impress their friends. So, one Sunday morning they pressed off the hardboard, and there, the range, so beautiful, well blackened, and the steel handles even kept their shine. The old lady had really left the stove in a good condition before it was hidden. The stove was so beautiful, but on the top of the range there were a couple of clogs, black clogs, neatly put together. Why were they put there, and whose were they? At first they were so pleased that they had found the range, so they didn't think about the clogs. But as time went on, questions started to grow, till they nearly obsessed them. They had to know about the clogs, but none knew about them, except that they were footwear for men. But the lady, she never got married. They tried to talk to their neighbors, but they were all new and they didn't really know anything about the old lady. One day they heard about an old woman who lived at the parallel street. She might know something. So they went to see her and told her who they were and why they came to her. And she invited them in. They sat in the kitchen, and next to them there was a Lancashire range. Then they told the lady about their range and about the clogs on the top. "Oh, I know whose they were, I think," the old woman said. "Well, the woman who lived in your house, she's name is Mavis Corley, and I knew her all my life, and she never got married." The lady told us that Mavis Corley loved a man. He was from Braithwaite, and he was a farmer's son. He was the youngest in his family, so there were no inheriting to expect. Both families were against them. What shall they do? They had to meet secretly beneath a holly tree at the edge of the town. They were meeting under this tree for a year or two, but there was no hope. At those days, if you had your family against the marriage, it was very difficult. One day, Mavis went to the tree, but he never came. She waited and waited. She waited the next night and the next, but he never came. One day she heard that he had went to America. She was shattered and went into herself, very depressed. She got a letter from him a year later. He was writing, "It was no hope for us to get married at home, so I went to America to get a job where I could earn some money. I will soon send you some, and then you can come here and we will get married. P.S. I came to America in my leather boots, but I left my clogs in the hollow tree." She waited all her life, but she never heard from him again.